All right, we will begin here in just a second. And waiting for YouTube to start. Okay, it did. Now I'm going to go to YouTube. Do a search for, okay. All right. Do a search for Theology Central. Did. Now I'm going to go to YouTube. Do a search. Turn off live chat. All right, I think we can begin here in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. We'll give it a couple of seconds here. We'll see what we can do. All right, we will begin here in just a second. Hopefully this will be somewhat beneficial. All right. Well, I'm going to look something up really quick to verify. See, where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah. All right, I think I've got that ready to go. Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Let's go live. Hang on, let me verify. Trying to make a plan here. I'm kind of doing it all impromptu, but that's okay. I kind of like it this way. I think it'll capture more what I'm trying to do here for this particular episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, let's go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Looking at our world from a theological perspective. This is the Theology Central podcast, making theology central.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, September the 3rd, 2025. It is currently 1:41 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. What a quote! A famous song. Summer came and left without a warning. I mean, it feels like summer just started, and the next thing you know, we're in September. Now we're looking towards the fall. We're looking towards the end of the year. Are we looking forward to it? Are we looking toward it? I don't know. Whichever way. Maybe you're looking forward. Maybe you're looking toward. I don't know. What we're looking that direction. We're moving forward. We're not looking back. So we kind of need to make a plan of where we're going in September. At least I need to. So here's what was going on. Yesterday, I thought about recording, and I'm just like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Kind of just was kind of caught in between things, not knowing exactly which direction I wanted to go, because I for some weird reason, I'm really feeling it this year, the end of summer. It's just for some reason, maybe it's just more noticeable to me. It feels like more than just a change of the calendar. It just feels like, okay. And maybe because there's a lot going on, I don't know. I can't really describe what it is. So once I sat down like yesterday to possibly go live, it just felt like, okay, well, I kind of need to map out where we're going. I need to kind of figure it out. So I haven't really mapped it out in any great detail. I've just kind of been thinking about it. So I thought, since I don't really know what to do today, just like I didn't really know what to do yesterday, let me just turn on the microphone and we'll try to just talk it out in real time and try to get an idea of where this podcast is headed, not only in September, but really the rest of 2025. Because depending on how things work, I guess there'll be some pretty big changes for me. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to work out. There's a lot of uncertainty going into the next few months. But before we know it, it's going to be like, I'll be doing one of those broadcasts where we're saying goodbye to 2025 and hello to 2026. And then maybe in 2026, I'll have, who knows? Who knows anything? I mean, isn't that the way it works? We don't really have any clue. So you can hear a lot of uncertainty. And the only thing I'm certain about, you can hear a lot of uncertainty in my voice. I cut myself off. But the only thing I'm certain about is that summer came and left without a warning. We're now in September and we've got to figure some things out. So let's at least take a minute to do this. In the summer of 2025, I really had two, I thought, pretty good ideas, right? Try to keep up with the historic lectionary. At the same time, keep up with what was going on in the world of music, right? What was happening in the world of the Billboard Hot 100 charts. And for the most part, I think we did pretty good. There's a few songs we didn't cover. I didn't get into, there's a couple of things I did not probably get to that I probably should have or could have. But then, with music, things move relatively fast. So if you wait too long, does it even matter anymore? Things have already moved on. But for the most part, I think we covered a lot. I think we did pretty good. In some ways, I felt I did maybe better with the music series than I did with the lectionary series. The lectionary series, though, led us to what we're currently doing with Hebrews chapter 12 and 70 AD, which I think is a absolutely important discussion. And I'm trying to work exegetically through Hebrews 12, interpreting it in light of 70 AD. That would have never occurred it may have occurred at some point, but it occurred now because of the lectionary. So the lectionary led us to some other interesting discussions and I won't say new interpretations, but I think interpretations that are consistent with the history and context of Scripture. So I think we did okay. It didn't go exactly as I envisioned it, but overall I think it went pretty well. Now, what ultimately happened is I received more feedback from the music broadcast than I did the lectionary broadcast. But that's the way it typically works, right? I mean, you can do a broadcast about Scripture, about theology, about church history, and you get a certain audience. But then if you go to something that's controversial, sensational, very relevant to what people are searching for on the internet, trying to follow those trends, chase what's popular, cover a popular TV show, popular movie. There's just kind of your numbers are going to be greater there than just for the standard, hey, we're going to talk about Hebrews chapter 12 and 70 AD. Most people don't care. Hey, we're going to talk about this movie or this TV show or this song. More people will tune in. And you have to make you've got to make a decision. Do you chase the numbers? So far, I try not to chase the numbers. Oh, there are times I want to, but I try not to. And I try to keep it balanced, right? I think at times we do need to stop and look at what's going on in the world and talk about it. I think we do. We need to offer relevant, rational, thoughtful, theological, biblical, intelligent conversation about what's going on within culture. Not just the typical, oh, it's bad because Christianity says it's bad, and not having any meaningful conversation. So I think that there's room for that, but at the same time, you want to balance it out with the other stuff. And I don't know, does it always remain balanced? I mean, I tried to balance it out this summer with the lectionary and with the Song of the Summer. The two was supposed to work a little bit more together than it actually happened. But for the most part, we did I think overall, I was pretty happy with where those ended. So, but because the lectionary led us to Hebrews 12 and 70 AD, then you obviously know what's in the immediate future of September. We've got to finish all of Hebrews 12, interpreting it in light of 70 AD. We need to do that. So that's going to be, probably you're going to hear more about that. I don't know if I'm going to do any sermon reviews on Hebrews chapter 12 because nobody's going to interpret it the way we're interpreting it. So it won't really be accomplishing anything, but maybe we'll throw in one or two, who knows. But so we definitely will complete that and finish that and hopefully have that done I'm hoping by the end of September, we will have Hebrews 12, 70 AD accomplished. I'm hoping we will have that done. Now, as far as the music reviews and things along those lines, I have received, and I won't say a lot, but I've definitely received a number of requests to somehow keep that series going. So obviously we can't keep calling it Song of the Summer. So I think we're going to refer to the new series as Currently On. That was a secular, I hate the word secular, but a non-Christian type podcast, secular podcast, dealing with music and all that type of stuff, entertainment, movies. And I think what we'll do is we'll create a series called Currently On, and then I'm not going to have any definitive plan, but at times talk about a TV show, movies, music, charts. It could be a book, it could be a novel, just anything going on in the world, but to do it in my way, not to do it in the typical Christian way. This movie had 5 bad words and it's not Christian. Just not that. Just trying to have, the way we've covered the songs of the summer. I think we've done, somewhat interesting, and I think in a somewhat creative and intelligent way. So I think that's what we're going to do. I already have the artwork for it because of having it before. I think I've got 2 or 3 different versions. I'll have to look and see. And then we'll get that going. We'll get that set up, and then we'll throw in some reviews. So the lectionary will turn into, and I've got to create some artwork for Hebrews 12 and 70 AD, and I'm just going to move everything over to its own series so that people can find it. So I think we'll do that. So the lectionary is going to lead to that. And then the Song of the Summer will turn into Currently On, which will talk about what's currently on television, streaming services, whatever the case may be. And so I think that will work. So those 2 series we'll continue. And as far as the lectionary, we won't be necessarily following the lectionary, but like I said, it will kind of conclude with the conclusion of Hebrews 12, and then we'll go from there. Obviously, we got to finish Isaiah 40 through 55. We started it in October of 2024. We're now fast approaching October of 2025. We're in Isaiah 45. I kind of gave you an assignment on what to do with Isaiah 45. Didn't hear anything back from the assignment. And that's what almost always happens. I give out the assignments and then it goes silent. And then you're like, if nobody's doing the assignment. But whether people are participating or not participating, we will finish Isaiah 45. We'll do an observational outline. Then we'll start the exegetical study. Then we'll do the same thing. We'll throw in some sermon reviews, and we'll just keep adding and building on that series, trying to once again demonstrate all the different things we've tried to demonstrate hermeneutically about that. So we definitely need to finish that. We've got the series on replacement theology. I got a little discouraged or a little frustrated with it because someone on YouTube, instead of actually engaging me like in a meaningful adult-like conversation, all they did is just kept using the comment section to spam the comment section with just links to videos on YouTube that would argue for replacement theology, even if they wouldn't call it that. That's basically what it is. Their idea of, their concept. And it's like, so you're going to use my comment section on my video to simply promote what you believe, but you're not going to actually engage me. And those things, I want to delete those comments when people do that. Go make your own stinking YouTube channel and don't use my comment section to promote your ideas. I hate unless you're going to engage in a meaningful conversation. It's so lazy. It's just so like, oh, you're wrong. I'm just going to send you some videos. Oh, you're right. I've never heard the arguments in those videos. Never one time. It's like, it's shocking. I didn't even know these arguments existed, where I'm trying to engage in all the arguments and the content I'm producing. That stuff just drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. Jack Hibbs from Calvary Chapel, where, as we know, he's the only one in history where I basically cut off a sermon review in the middle and said I'm never going to to review anything he's ever going to do again because of some comments he made that I thought were just insane. But he supposedly did a video on replacement theology. So I'm assuming he's Calvary Chapel. I'm pretty 1,000% sure that he's against replacement theology. So I would like to hear at least what he had to say. I saw some Reformed people on YouTube already making videos arguing against what he said. So it's, but replacement theology clearly is being discussed. So maybe we're being that's pretty relevant right now. So we need to get back to that. It's just, I get frustrated sometimes when you're producing hour after hour after hour of content with these very in-depth, lengthy discussions, and you're trying to make points, and you're trying to be fair, and you're trying to be accurate. And all you get is either just attacks or just, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to actually engage you. I'm just going to use your comment section to promote videos that give the opposing view. Okay. Well, thank you. That's right. I've had Seventh-day Adventists do the same thing. Just drives me crazy. So sooner or later, sometimes you just have to tell the person, stop it. And I think this person finally stopped it, and I'm glad, but it just sometimes is irritating. So we definitely need to finish that. I don't know if I really work hard, I could finish that up in September, I think, for the most part. I think we've made pretty good arguments there. I think Galatians 3, we've got to handle that text because that's where everyone runs to. So is it Galatians 3 or Galatians 6? We've covered one of them already. Maybe we need to do Galatians 6. So we'll have to take that apart and see what we can do. So we definitely need to finish that. And other than that, let me look here. I know I'm forgetting something. I'm looking at the Church One app really quick. See here. We've got just a few months left, and one of the main focuses of this year has been artificial intelligence. Really, that focus has shown up in everything we've done. So I know the series AI, the Future of the Church, only has 34 hours of content, which is really not that much, but AI has dominated everything we've done and discussed. So we definitely need to do that. Obviously, anytime we can do more work on law and gospel, we need to do that. The Salem witch trials. I'm really proud of that series. I think I've done a pretty good job on that. I think I've made it pretty interesting. People who have studied Salem have contacted me and said that I have given more information than they've ever found or seen. And they've heard things that they've never heard before. But I believe everything I've given has been as historically accurate as possible. I do have a book that I need to finish reading on Salem to see if there's more information there that I don't know. Of course, I will be heading to Salem on September the 11th, and I'll be there from the 11th through the 14th, so there'll be no broadcast during that time, which is another thing that's going to mess up September. But I won't have a lot of time, but I'm hoping if I get just any time at all, even if it's just walking around Salem at 2 a.m, whatever I can do, I'm going to, hopefully, I just soak in the atmosphere because I love the place so much. But we need to talk. We've got so many more stories to tell about the Salem witch trials. I still don't know if people understand the significance of it. It just seems weird. I think it doesn't seem to bother a lot of Christians. And the Salem witch trials bothers me a lot about Christianity, religion, so much. And we've talked about all of the principles. So we definitely need to do work on that. And then there's one thing I'm really struggling with right now. I did an episode, I think, called Free Systematic Theology, where I told everyone about a book, a systematic theology book, that kind of comes from an independent fundamental Baptist perspective. I'm somewhat very interested in the book, kind of fascinated by the book, only because it's a full-blown systematic theology over 400 pages long from an independent fundamental Baptist background, where typically, look at the Sword of the Lord newspaper. Look at the bookstore. I mean, most of the books you find on anything that's an independent fundamental Baptist related site, the bookstores on those sites they're not filled with large systematic theology. So I'm very interested in the book. I still want to buy a physical copy of it. I need to check and see how much money I have, because I do want a physical copy of it, but I want to do something with that. I want to turn it into a series where I work through that book, but just we can bring in any systematic theology and just anything that comes from a systematic theology, try to turn them into smaller lessons, not necessarily like I'm going to work through every page of this book, because that'll take forever, right? But if it can just be like, today I'm going to look at from this book, or today I'm going to take from this book. That one, the reason I'm kind of interested in trying to do maybe a series more focused on that particular book is because they offer the free PDF version of the book. Most books I could pull up, I can't necessarily offer you that. Here I can offer you the free, I've already given you the web address and everything, and the episode on free systematic theology. Everyone can go download the free PDF version of the book. So by doing a series on that particular book, I can have everyone look at the book themselves. I can have everyone look at it. Now, the thing is trying to get people engaged in doing that. Hey, go look at this section. Go look at this section. Here's an assignment on this section. Like my mind turns it into like a full blown, man, we could really, that's a resource we could really use and get everyone involved in using it. So, I've already written like an entire lesson. I've kind of written it 3 different ways. For the first part, the first section of that systematic theology, dealing with how do we know, and using empiricism, rationalism, philosophy, and how those systems supposedly don't work. So we need revelation. I'm going to kind of challenge that a little bit. So I've got. Yeah. So, I think we could really have a great time and have some very important conversations. It's just, 444 page book. Once I say yes to that, I basically have committed the rest of my life to that book. Really, 444 pages. Even if I try to work through it quickly with just one lesson per section, you're talking years, okay? So, that's an hour probably for every section. So I don't know what to do there. I don't know what to do there. So I'm struggling with that. We'll have to see. Yeah, I want to do something with that. And then everything else, 2024 was about sermon reviews. 2025 has been about AI, which we've used in sermon reviews and everything else we've done. I don't know where we're going to be headed in 2026. Now, the big change that could be coming, and I don't know how much of a big change this is going to be, but at some point there's at least I'm going to state this in a cautiously optimistic way. Just in a cautious way. There's a chance that I don't know when, that the church, as many of you know, I started talking about it in 2024. We've been kind of purgatory in 2025, just waiting, kind of on a holding pattern, that the church, Victory Baptist Church, the building itself is going to sell. I'm hoping there's at least a greater chance now than there has been that it could sell, hopefully in the next few months. If it does, then that'll be basically the end of Victory Baptist Church. Now, once that happens, I will make an announcement to everyone that at that point, I will convert the PayPal account that people give to, that will come over to my personal account. And so I will have to let everyone know if they don't want to support the podcast anymore because it's not going to a church. I completely understand, but I'll definitely be very upfront and let you know, no, that money's coming to my account now. So you decide what you want to do, if you want to still support it. If the church sells and everything works out in theory, the way I think it can, if it does, then financially I should be okay. I won't have as many concerns as I thought if it works out the way I think it's going to. I can't say for sure if it is. And so just keeping the podcast running, I just need a little bit of support to pull that off. And I think we we should be okay. At least I won't be making any money from the podcast, it'll be, I think, enough to keep everything going and should be fine. So we'll keep you up to date on that when that occurs. Until that occurs, right now, any giving that you give goes to the church. So if you want to make any gifts, you want to give anything while it still goes to the church, well, then you've got, possibly between September and hopefully by November or December, maybe that's done. So if you want to give to the church, then here's the opportunity to do so as we wrap everything up and bring that chapter to an end. Then this podcast will be then separate from it'll be an independent podcast separate from a church. So, I don't know how some people care, some people don't care, but it'll just be, I'll just make sure I'll make that clear. And we'll give more information about that as we move forward. It's more of a change behind the scenes, but it is a change to people who give money. Now, there's one listener who sends an actual physical check, and they've always sent the check directly to me and said I can do anything I want with it whenever they send a check. And I'm very appreciative of that because their check has helped buy tires for the car. It's helped make payments on things. Their check has always shows up in just great amount, just at the right time. Everyone else usually gives through the Theology Central. Theology Central. What's the actual website? I never give the website address anymore. Is it theologycentral.com or theologycentral.net? I can't remember. See, theologycentral.net. Yeah, theologycentral.net. Yes, there it is. theologycentral.net. You can go there and give, or if you're using the Church One app or Sermon Audio, you hit the Give tab. It goes to the same place. All of that money currently goes to the church. Once that is done, then we'll see if we can transfer that over to my personal PayPal account, and then we'll go. So that's the only reason people will need to know that. That could be. I don't know how that's going to impact it. I don't know if it's going to be like, well, I'm not giving anymore. And I can understand. So for those people, give now. Give right now when the church is still there. Okay? Because it can, the money will go and that money will go towards the podcast. That's where it will go to. Even if the church was to end 5 minutes from now, that money still would be earmarked for the podcast. That's what it would be for. So, I think that's that. So that's kind of, there's a lot of uncertainty. Once that's done, I don't know what 2026 looks like. I really don't. I know September is still a ways away, but so we'll be doing the Currently On series. We won't finish the Isaiah 40 through 55 series. I mean, obviously we're not finishing that in 2025. Hopefully we finish it in 2026. Hopefully we'll finish the Hebrews 12 series before 2025 is over. The AI discussion, I don't see how we're not going to continue to talk about AI going into 2026. I don't know how AI is only going to become more powerful and the ability will only increase. And so we're going to have to continue to talk about it. So we'll just keep that series going. Law and Gospel, we're never going to end that series. And then, the systematic theology, I'm conflicted on what to do. I want to use that book I told everyone about. I so want to, but man, if I got to do it in such a way where it's like, here's the book we're using, but it's not like we're working through the book. Even if I go in order, we're not really working through the book. We're just doing discussions from the book. So whenever I do a discussion from the book, here, check the PDF file. You have access to it, but and not say we're trying to work through every single page. If I can try to frame it correctly, then I'm not under some obligation like, well, you said you're going to work through this book. Well, get going, So I don't know. I don't even know how much interest though. If you look at the download numbers for that episode on free systematic theology, most people didn't even bother to tune in. So, but when I see that, my nature is, oh, you got only 8 of you listen to that? Well, guess what? I'm going to double down. I'm going to do 700 hours on the very topic that nobody is interested in. Sometimes I almost like make myself like, I'm going to prove you don't want me to do this? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 100 hours. Oh, you don't like it? I'll do 300. Oh, you really hate it? I'll do 500 hours. Like I know that's so stupid. I know it's so stupid, but it just like, oh, that's what you don't want me to do. Well, that's what it'll do. We'll see. And I still, to this very day, I live with it. This haunts me. I still have nightmares sometimes about it. I've told the story before how the Puritan, the famous work on spiritual warfare, Christian and Complete Armor, a Puritan, some call it a Puritan masterpiece. 3 volumes, 4 volumes? I have tried multiple times to work through those volumes, and it has failed every single time. An epic fashion. That thing has crashed and burned so bad. I mean, it was, so bad. I still, to this day, want to find a way to do something with that. That'll be beneficial. Still want to do something with that will be beneficial. So I've got some ideas. The good thing is I can take, because if you just try to work through the Christian and Complete Armor, which is what I tried to do both times, just like taking the book and I'm just going to read every word and then comment and break it down into lessons, that was a disaster because the chapters are so wordy. Oh man, it is, that was a horrible decision. Now I can kind of take, because I think the books are in public domain. I'm pretty sure I can get a PDF version, upload it to AI and say, okay, AI, here's what I'm thinking about for this section. Here's what I'm thinking. And then work with AI to craft it and to clean it up. So instead of working through it word by word, I can just say, here's Christian and Complete Armor. This lesson is based off chapter 1 and not really worry about whether I'm reading all the words of it or not. This is based off chapter 2. Not really worried if I'm reading all the words. Here's chapter 3. People can go read it or not read it and still get the same lesson. So I think I'm going to approach it that way. I think that could work. And maybe just pull quotes from the certain sections instead of trying to read it. My idea was bad, but I think now I can, AI can take what's there and help me formulate. I can take what I have in my notes and we can argue until we formulate a lesson. So I think that's what we're going to do. Same with the systematic theology. If I just open that book, 444 pages and I'm going to read every word and off. Those are, whenever I get those ideas, it's because I want on one hand to show respect to the original source. I want to honor the original source and have people actually read the original source. Only problem is you can't really do that in teaching. And I know better than that, but I always end up. So I'm not saying 2026 is going to be the year that I do something with it, but it just fits so perfectly to take a book on spiritual warfare by Puritans in light of the Salem witch trials, which it was the Puritans. I mean, it just seems to fit perfectly in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying the Christian and Complete Armor is to blame for what happened at Salem. I would point to Cotton Mather more than I would point to the Christian and Complete Armor by what was his name? William Cornell, I think is how you say his last name. I don't have the book in front of me. But I don't think there's a correlation. That's something I need to check the history of. I don't remember the date of when Christian and Complete Armor was written. So I could do some work there. But at some point I want to do that. It's mainly just for my own peace of mind, right? I'm like, okay, like you always want to go back and say, okay, you jack that up, you mess that up, go back and try to fix that. But at the same time, you want to move forward instead of circling back, trying to fix your series that went horribly wrong. But we will see. We will see what we can do over time to be beneficial. So that's kind of where we are. We need to do Yeah, I just got to figure out what to do next. Like this, the systematic theology, I've got it right here in front of me. I want to do something with that. So, because I think I could really challenge almost all systematic theologies begin with basically the question of how do we know? Because they're always going to argue that all these other ways of knowing, empiricism, rationalism, and philosophy, these are insufficient. These are inadequate. We need God's revelation to see truth. We need God's revelation to find truth. And it sounds so good, but in practice, is it really God's revelation that helps us find truth? Because the ultimate authority is not God's revelation, but our interpretation of it. Right? So, I don't know. There's a lot we could get into there. So I want to have those conversations. So maybe how can I break? But if I start the conversation, am I not starting a series on the book? So I wanted to kind of do it on its own separate, but at the same time, I want to point people to the book. So I'm conflicted. So we will see if you have any suggestions or ideas or thoughts on where to go. Not only in September, October, November, December, as we wrap up 2025, you can let me know, and we will try to accommodate those discussions to the best of our ability. Right? I don't know why I'm saying we or are. It's just me. I will try to accommodate those requests to the best of my ability. I don't know why I always reference this as we or us or in the plural. I don't know why I do that. It's just me. There's no one here. Just me in an empty room, hour after hour after hour in an empty room talking to, well, sometimes nobody, I think, sometimes somebody. But either way, we see, there's the we again. Why do I do that? I try to talk to all of you who listen. So I will see where to go, the rest. I think that's going to kind of hinder me from making any definitive plans is, I know it's only 4 days, but if I'm away from the microphone for 4 days, then I come back, am I immediately ready to go? Maybe it turns into 5 days, depending on what's going on. I kind of like to get past that before I really start anything. I know 4 days is really not that long, but yeah. So we'll see. But summer came and it went. It left without a warning, and here we are. So I don't know. I know this. The one thing that we can definitively say, we're fast approaching another year closer to our deaths. If we even make it to 2026. If we make it to 2026, you can just mark off 1 year closer to your death. Just like every day, you're a day closer. Every minute, you're a minute closer. Every hour, you're an hour closer. But I think it's always good to take, I think it's important to remember that death is fast approaching, usually faster than anyone expects or anticipates. So all you have is right now. You have no idea if you're even going to wake up to see September the 4th. So, all right, there we go. I guess that's kind of a lesson when it comes to the calendar and time. But that's where we've been, kind of. That's where we kind of need to go. I know I'm probably forgetting some series. Some of you are like, you haven't done anything in this series in 500 years. I know. But thanks for listening. Everyone have a great day. God bless.